Hey guys, so I'm in Coral Pink, Utah. Just got back from Hurricane, Utah. So Hurricane, Utah has sand dunes, and it's at a place called uh, Sand Hollow. How to think about that? So I played up there. It's around the 3,000 foot elevation. So that was my goal today. Is I want to see how this turbo system reacts to the different elevations. So far, Sand Hollow's at 3,000 feet. It does seem to pull a little harder, but it still pulls hard. I'm over 6,000 feet at Coral Pink, and the sand seems to be finer, more of a powdery sand versus Sand Hollow, which is more of a granular. It's very difficult to discern the two. And I don't know if it is. You could probably prove me wrong, and I'm sure you're right. I don't know. It just feels like it's got a thicker sand than Coral Pink. Coral Pink feels dustier. So the turbo has not let me down. Um, it has got hot going up the longer hills for sure. I can even feel um, the power starting to reduce, but that's because of the safety features implemented in the turbo system, so we don't blow up the engine. So instead of just being in it the entire time, it backs off the fuel going to the engine and prevents you from blowing it up. So it's happened a couple times, but it's definitely not enough for me to worry about for sure. I haven't had a bailout once. And so if you're unfamiliar with the dunes, if you're going up a hill and you realize you're not going to make it, you have to do what's called bailing out. And you got to make a sharp U-turn in the middle of a hill. I've done it 100 times with other rigs. I have not had to do it with this. So far in the dunes, I've had 30-inch OEM tires, 32s, 33s, and 35s. I've had a portal, I've had a long travel, mid travel kit. Some people are very technical about that, so it's technically a mid travel kit, just for clarification. So, what do I think? Portals did fine, but I had to bail out a lot because it had 35s, a lot of rotating mass. Um, this is the perfect setup for the dunes. Mid travel for stability because it makes it wider and longer. The sand tires, uh, these are from Sandcraft, but I'm sure just about any sand tire is going to work, and I'll tell you why. Here's the thing about sand tires, they're light, very, very light. So anytime you can reduce the weight of the rolling mass, that's your ticket. Uh, I do plan on getting a set of O bars in the future, sand tires, and then I want to do a kind of a really great comparison between one and the other. So that's for a different video, different time. But for right now, with these sand tires, do you need sand tires for the dunes? Absolutely not. You do not. Do they make your life a lot better? Oh, man, do they make it so much nicer. I'm having such a blast out here. This thing's climbing up everything with ease. I can turn sharper, easier. When you do a sand tire, it just weighs a lot less. I can lift one of these tires up with 2 fingers. Very, very light. Um, do I spend the money, $2,500 on a set of sand tires if I'm going to use it 2 or 3 times a year? Honestly, I mean, that's your guys' thing. Me, yeah, I'm going to do it just because it is that much of a difference. I mean, honestly, I think it's safer too. When I got a big, heavy tire and it forces me up the, and those tires will force me a particular way due to lack of horsepower. Now, if I have all the horsepower in the world, it's a different story. I don't. With this setup, even though I'm only running, maybe 150 horsepower with the turbo at this elevation, um, I haven't had a bail. I've been able to pick every line that I want to pick. I choose which way I want to go. I'm in control. The machine allows me now, because of the additional power of the turbo and the sand tires and the long travel kit, I can pick whatever line I want. I have that luxury now. On the long hills, it does slow down. It doesn't struggle; it just slows down. So Coral Pink's a great place. It's got trees. I mean, I'm duning I'm duning in the woods basically. So I'm going in between trees, but there's still some pretty big hills out here. In fact, I thought I was gonna have to bail out on one of them, but it climbed it up, and so it was pretty steep. Glamis is going to give me more power for sure. It's at a lower elevation, and so the lower elevation gives you better performance. Higher elevation, it starts to rob your power. Well, if I compare 6,000 feet to 300 feet, I'm sure the power on this is going to be night and day. I'm so looking forward to Camp Razor. I can't wait to try this system out down there because that'll be my first trip to Glamis is probably Camp Razor. And so is the turbo worth it? 100%, especially if you're a duner. Um, it's helpful for everything else. Don't get me wrong. If you drive it on the street, I drive it on the street every day. It is nice having that turbo because it does get you out in traffic significantly quicker. Significantly. Uh, the desert, man, I don't know. You can't get traction, so that's the problem. You know, if you're if purely a desert runner, it's nice having that extra power. Maybe you could put on a bigger tire without worrying about it robbing your power. But with 33s, it just spins them like little bicycle tires. You got to be careful. I air down a little bit, so if I'm running 33s, I'm running around 10 pounds, maybe 11 on this. For the dirt, I run 10 pounds on the sand. Um, I was going to air down a little bit more, but I'm having plenty of traction, so I don't need to air down anymore. Uh, you can run a bigger tire and not worry about loss of power like a 35 inch. Then you just got to mess with your clutching so that you have excellent clutching engagement and disengagement. So, what I mean by disengagement is when you're going down a hill, you want that clutch to kind of grab a little bit so you don't have to ride your brakes going down a hill. So, when you're playing with your clutch, a lot of that stuff is tunable if you know how to do it. And if not, there's 100 videos out there that show you how to tune a clutch properly. It's very time consuming and it may be good in one area but not another. So I don't know. Coral Pink for the win. I'm having a blast out here. I've been duning for hours. I've already got 100 miles on this thing. 100. I just driven 140 miles between Hurricane, Sand Hollow, and then Coral Pink. I'm right at the 140-mile mark. I just been flogging this thing nonstop, pinning it to win it, and it has not let me down. It has been great. I did have, you know what? I did have to back down one of the hills. I didn't have a long enough run, and the sand was all tore up from other side by sides, and I couldn't make it. So I backed down. I turned around, and I went a different way. It doesn't have enough, but I could tell a lot of other people did it too because at the base of the hill it was all tore up. So there was a lot of people, you could tell the sand was just too soft and it didn't give you a long enough run to get up it. So you basically had to start at the bottom of the hill and then go up. And the sand was super soft because everybody's been turning it up like Cool Whip. It just was a sand pit. I couldn't get out of it. So I had to back down, turn around, and then just keep going down the wash. And then, because it's a one-way wash in Coral Pink, they have this big wash that goes down from basically the top to the bottom. And you kind of do a lot of S curves back and forth. It's really fun, but it does get old after a while. I wanted to bail out early, and I just couldn't do it. So turbo for the win, sand tires for the win, mid travel from JRI for the win. This setup is the perfect setup for the dunes. If you're a duner and you can afford it, this is your kit. It is absolutely worth every penny, and I'm just absolutely having a blast with this setup. So I hope everybody has a great day. God bless, and go get them.